Good evening, everybody. The Banking 50. Today with us, Giorgi Shagidze, CEO of maib, and we have a few questions for Giorgi. So my first question, you are CEO of number one bank in Moldova. Many people will be unfamiliar with Moldovan banking sector. Can you tell us more about this?
Of course. And thanks for inviting me. And I think to start with Moldova. Moldova is a very small country with the aspiration to become the member of European Union, getting the candidate status for the European Union. And Moldova has started to already become more and more engaged with the EU, with about 70% of the trade with the European Union. If you think about the Moldovan banking sector, this is very underpenetrated, well-regulated, strong in capital and liquidity banking sector. In the penetration, as we measure it as a loan to GDP, is about 25%, which is very low. Penetration in terms of the mortgage loan to GDP, it is about 5%, which gives you lots of room for the growth and lots of confidence during this crisis in the regional context, that Moldovan banking sector is well positioned to go through this and go to next level after the crisis is over.
You were previously on the board of number one bank of Georgia. What was the biggest change for you when you moved to Moldova from banking perspective?
Yes, indeed. I worked as the deputy CEO of TBC Bank, which is the largest bank in Georgia. I would start with similarities. And Georgia and Moldova both are small countries. They come from the Soviet past. They both are again aspiring to become members of European Union. And the population in those countries, number of people are quite similar. Still, the penetration in Georgian banking sector is much higher. For comparison, it's about 75%, and that again implies the room for growth for Moldovan banking sector. There are many similarities in culture of people, and even in both countries being absolutely obsessed with the wine culture and regions and the beauty of the country. So that makes my life easier when I came here. In terms of the bank, maib, like TBC in Georgia, maib in Moldova is the largest bank, about 1/3 of the market across all the metrics and the product. It has been quite a very successful bank, especially in corporate banking, very disciplined, very hierarchical, and the leader of the Moldovan banking sector. And then we started to use all the strength that maib has in Moldovan banking market and transform it to more modern, more agile banking institution. And this is the transformation that we are going through now. And this is one of the key reasons why we are here in Amsterdam.
This is the second time you, with the colleagues, visit the banks in the Netherlands. What does attract you to Dutch banking sector? So what is most attractive for you here in Netherlands?
The biggest one and the biggest transformation we are doing is the transformation in terms of the putting the customer at the center of everything we do. And that requires lots of transformation, the cultural and the way that we work. The biggest initiative that we started last year is to transform so-called agile at scale, whereas instead of hierarchy and instead of the decisions made at the committee and in the bosses' offices, we put together the teams, we empower them, and they take the decisions. So the teams that are very close to customers, they take the decisions. And here the Dutch banking sector has been quite very very successful, especially ING, who has been the first bank from Europe who took the Silicon Valley practice of agile approach, and that's the reason why we came here, and we appreciate your help to have exposure to people who have been doing it, and to have the chance to discuss what challenges they faced, how they overcome this change, and how they look. So as we said today many times, we are defining our North Star, and in this context, being here and listening to these people is key.
What is the best thing you have learned so far in Netherlands, which you have also implemented or will implement in Moldova?
Well, I think the agile approach, this year we are finishing the entire transformation of retail and SME head office perimeter, and entire retail and SME will be running agile. We have our own terminology, so that the words of tribe and squad, we are changing it in our local, our maib terminology of orchestras and bands, and this is the way that retail and SME organization will be working fully starting from 1st January 2023. So we are quite at the closing stage of the first wave of this transformation, and clearly we've been inspired by the stories that I've just described. We work with the top tier consulting firms that have exposure and had helped these banks to do the same. So we share the practices from them as well. Again, for us, it's important that we have the design and the structure and the mindset of people in bank who can respond very rapidly changing customer expectations, and the agile has been the proven model developed here, and clearly we are very much interested to see more and expose more to.
What do you think Dutch banks can learn from Moldovan banking sector? And I do believe that they still could learn something from Moldova, yeah?
Oh, that's very difficult question on the one hand. So what we tried to do is, for us, it's key to align. And we are here with 60 people, and the bank, even though it is the largest in Moldova, I mean, it's clearly not comparable size-wise with Dutch banks. And we start this transformation with alignment of top and middle managers. And the reason we are here with 60 people is the part of this alignment process. So I've heard many colleagues from Dutch banking institutions saying that they would have loved to align more when they were starting this journey initial phase. I wouldn't be very arrogant to say what they need to learn now, but this is what I heard from them saying they wanted to do it when they were starting this journey.
And what is the biggest plans for maib for year 2023?
I mean, I wouldn't specifically say the plan for 2023, but the big four initiatives that we have are: number one is to put the customer at the center for everything we do, and that requires tremendous changes. As I said, agile is one of these change and key change, but then there are others. As well. And on Monday, for example, the 60 people will start executive leadership courses with Stanford that we designed together, which is the learning to become part of our transformation. The second one is digital, and there are so many things that we are doing in digital, and then we want to do more and we want to do better. One of the initiatives we have is to list our shares on an international stock exchange. And when the largest bank from the country does listing of the shares on the international stock exchange, clearly it acts as the gateway to bring new investors to the country. And this is especially important during the quite difficult times. I mean here, geopolitics and macro environment in the region and so on. And number 4 for us is important to go and serve Moldovan citizens who now are citizens of European Union, Moldovan diaspora. There are 1.2 million people who live outside of Moldova, and then they are clearly our natural customer group. So this would be the four group. Of course, everything needs to happen with the strong financial results, which is part of maib's culture and approach.
Thank you very much, Giorgi. And few words, how these 3 days was for you in Netherlands? You was communicating with many bankers from 3 banks, ING, Rabobank, and ABN AMRO. So how this was for you? Your impressions in few words?
No, this was very exciting. I mean, the key is that the people that we are here together with, they found it very exciting and they're very relevant and very helpful to define our North Star again when we speak about the agile and the way ING went through this transformation. So, and as long as 60 people find it very exciting, that clearly says many things about it.